Hey guys, it's Lexi. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free review of Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. For those of you who don't know, this was the Tales and Teacups book club pick for the month of October. And going in, when I first kind of introduced this book, I said I was really excited for it because it is kind of based on a true story. It follows a woman named Agnes, who was the last person to be beheaded in Iceland in kind of the mid to late 1800s. So I found this plot just to be very interesting because it kind of goes to show, like, basically the premise of the story is Agnes is kind of sent to live with this family, and she ends up having a priest that kind of will will guide her and kind of help her, make her feel better about this beheading. But while all this is happening, she's kind of revealing kind of what happens and the events that kind of led up to the murder, and makes you kind of realize that maybe that there was like more to this story that meets the eye. So like I said, going in, I had a lot of expectations going into it. I thought it would be something that I would love, and just considering that it is about a true historical event, that really drew me in, and I heard a lot of great things about it. So I would say my expectations were high, and I will say that I did not enjoy this book as much as I thought I would. I gave it like a 2.5 out of 5 stars. So I would say for like the first 3/4 of the book, I was not enjoying it at all. And then it wasn't until like the last quarter of it that I found like I was really invested in it. And that's because it's literally just a bunch of info dumping where Agnes is just explaining everything that happened that led up to this. So I think it's just, part of the problem was the pacing of the book. Like I said, for the first 3/4 of the book, it just was so slow, and this book is under 300, or just over, yeah, it's just under 200 just under 300 pages, so it's fairly small, but it just moves so slowly. We would get kind of little tidbits here, and then it would kind of, you'd have to wait another 30 or 40 pages till it would kind of continue up again. I think part of the problem was it's written in third-person narrative, but she kind of includes first-person perspective from Agnes, which I think in some books, when this is done good, when it's done well, it really adds a new dimension to the book. But I feel like the way it was done in here, it just didn't really add much to it. It just, if anything, it kind of slowed the plot down. So I would say that was a really big kind of factor in here, was just the pacing was just so off. And like I said, the only reason I found myself to be a little bit invested in this book was because the last quarter of the book was just an info dump of everything that happened. So I don't know, it was just really, the pacing was just really poorly executed in here. And then also, I think just the way the author kind of incorporated it's Icelandic kind of dialogue and kind of their wording in here wasn't done really well, so it made it really difficult to keep track of who is who. There's multiple names for different characters, nicknames, and it's hard to kind of decipher from that. And there's 2 Johns in here, and when they're both in the room, it doesn't really distinguish which John is which talking, so that's really confusing. And just sometimes they'll incorporate sentences or phrases that the characters will say, and they don't, it's not the English translation isn't given to you until a paragraph or so later. So it was just kind of all over the place, and I don't know, I felt I really, like I said, I kind of enjoyed the last quarter of the book, but I just was struggling to get through it, and it was just stop and go, stop and go, stop and go, and then it was just go from the end. And it was just, I don't know, I felt like this book had a lot of pacing issues. The dialect in here was just really kind of strange, and I think it could have been done better to make it more easier for readers to follow. And I felt like I was very speed reading or skimming through a lot of the middle section of this book. So overall, I'll say I was just very disappointed with how everything played out in here. I was really looking forward to it because I felt like the plot was very unique and it was very gripping. However, it was just I don't know what it was, but I just did not enjoy it. And I don't know, I'm really sad too, because I feel like this book had so much potential, and it's well researched. She does include actual documents of what people were writing about and all that, but it was just I don't know, it was just really boring, I will say. So yeah, I was just very disappointed with this, and I'm shocked too because I know a lot of people have said they really liked it, so I don't know if it was just me and my expectations were too high, or it was, like I said, there's a lot of other kind of factors that kind of contributed to me disliking it. So I don't know, it was definitely problematic in a lot of ways. So I think just like with how the last quarter of the book panned out, I feel like it would have been better almost to have been like a short story or an essay. So I don't know, it was just, I don't know, because it did give you a lot of info dump, and that's like what you were waiting for to kind of figure out how these murders happened and like what actually took place. So I don't know, it could have been a better format maybe as a short story or a like essay. So I don't know, but yeah, I just did not enjoy it. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know in the comments below if you've read this book and what you thought about it. So yeah, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.